I just had the worst time of my life, and it was very crazy, and it was even worse than during the pandemic. And it all began with a surgery, or even before that a bit. So if you are having very bad time right now, you came to the right place. I'm not here to show off how hard my life was or how strong I am, because neither of that is true. I know that there are people with much harder lives and they are much stronger. I just want to let you know how I dealt with it so you can too. Or maybe you will find these ideas interesting and inspiring. So about my story, how it went. First, I had a really tiny knee surgery. My surgeon even said that it's not a surgery because it's just putting a needle in my knee and they will do something really not significant there. And they even told me that I could drive a car after it. However, during the surgery, they found out that I need a big surgery, like the normal one. And it was devastating to me because I didn't expect that, even though I should have probably, but I haven't. So I even almost started crying. Well, I started crying at some point, and all the people there were really nice to me. They were trying to calm me down. I could refuse, of course, but I knew that I needed the surgery because there was a big hole in my knee, in patella. But the problem was that I knew that I would have to stay at home for at least 6 weeks. And I knew that I would have to walk with crutches almost 2.5 months. So it was very hard for me to expect this thing, to know that I will have to imprison myself at home. And you, after the pandemic, probably know what it is, right? To be imprisoned at home among those four walls. You cannot see the sun because we didn't have a balcony at that time. So I knew that it will be hard. But the second real surgery was actually really fast. At least I thought so, because I slept the whole time, fortunately. And then in the clinic I met a very nice lady I was in a room with. So we spent the time there talking until the late night and we slept. And the next day I went home. And then my hard times began. I had to stay at home for at least 6 weeks. I was wearing orthosis. I couldn't step on the leg. And it was very hard to move because I couldn't even use the muscles in the leg, like I wasn't supposed to. So what can I do, right? But the whole time was underlined with anxiety because I was afraid that I will step on the leg and I would ruin the outcome of the surgery. And I even started having dreams about how I walk somewhere and I forget my crutches and my surgeon shouts at me and I'm just hopeless. So it was like really funny times. And when once I really stepped on the leg, I got very hysterical because I was like, oh, I totally ruined everything. I just stepped on the leg and it's all my fault. And I don't know what to do. Should I call my surgeon or what should I do, you know? So at times it was very hard for me and for my husband too, who had to listen to this. So all of the things were really playing with my mind. But still, it was much better than I expected, to be honest. But then something very sad happened after a few weeks of being at home. And it was that my family member passed away. And we could have expected because they were sick for a long time. But still, I was really afraid that that would happen. And I couldn't even go to their funeral, so it was very hard for me. And I just didn't completely comprehend the situation. And then, after a week, another thing happened. The owner of the apartment told us that we needed to move out because they needed the apartment for their family. In 3 weeks, we had to find another apartment and move out. Imagine how shocked I was hearing about this when I couldn't move even around the house. I was walking with the crutches at that time. I still couldn't step on the leg. I still wore the orthosis and I heard this. It was a shock. And then again, recently a project I was working on for almost a year got cancelled from day to day basically. And I totally didn't expect it. And I... Oh. Okay, my Kindle just fell Kindle just fell down and nothing happened. Like, look at this. This is like really good quality. I'm reading my notes from the Kindle here. So it wasn't such a big deal that the project got cancelled because I'm a freelancer and I can get other projects. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the project. It was well paid and it was very stable. So I was also really sad that that happened, and I also refused other projects because I had that one. Because of that now I have to look for other projects and it got much harder. But yes, I have to say this is expected when you are a freelancer and you work with clients. You know that very often projects get cancelled without previous warning. So I knew that, but still it was very sad. So basically I had to go through 4 of the 5 stressors in life of a human. And those were death, illness, losing a job and moving out. So it was very hard for me. So how did I actually survive without losing my mind? Because still, as I said, I'm not a very strong person. I'm not a Xena, the warrior princess. And I have to say that many times I felt sad, especially because of the family member. But I felt hope also after the surgery that someday I will see the sun again. As I said before, it was a very stressful time, and when I'm stressed, I need some movement. I need to move my body, you know. I usually go for a walk or even dance at home. Since I'm a freelancer, I can just like 20 minutes or 25 minutes of work, I can just dance around the room. I used to bike before I had the knee problems, so movement is key for me. And imagine now, when I couldn't use the leg, I had to find another way to move. And I would listen to the music on YouTube, especially with some really nice drone footage of nature outside, and I would be just like moving my body, you know, and doing this and this, you know. So I would feel that I'm actually exercising, and it really helped tremendously to boost my mood and to feel kind of like a human again. Also, after a few days, when I felt I could walk more stable with the crutches, I was just walking from room to the other room around the house with the crutches. And believe me, when you are as heavy as I am and you walk with crutches using only one leg, it's very good exercise. So I would be just like walking, and it helped me also. Later, when I didn't have orthosis anymore, that friend suggested that I could find some exercises on chair, like when you are sitting on chair and you are dancing. Because when you are unable to stand up as you used to, but you can still dance, it's an awesome feeling. And you are grateful for every opportunity when you feel awesome. Then when we had to move to the other house, I have to thank to my husband and a friend of mine. Because basically, if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to move. Basically, the friend helped me to look for an apartment online, and then she and my husband went to the apartments to see how they look. I saw it for the first time, actually, when we had to sign the contract. So I'm so thankful for their help. And also when we had to pack, my husband kind of packed almost all the things. I helped him a bit, and we called a moving company. But I feel that there is something good coming from me being at home and having to rely on my husband, because I realized that I can rely on him and that he is really patient and helpful, and I feel that it kind of made our bond stronger. The second thing I want to point out, which helped me to overcome that period, is work. Because that time I could still work on my computer. And since that time I had that project, it was a lifesaver for me because it kept my mind occupied. Because if I were at home only thinking how pitiful I am, I would have much less confidence, and I would also feel less positive because I would feel that I'm such a loser being at home doing nothing. Not that I'm a workaholic or anything. I really enjoy doing nothing, but when you are at home, you cannot see your family, which is far away, and then you can just do nothing and read books or something, you feel useless. So working on some project or learning things is really useful that time. The third thing which helped me a lot was reading and watching Korean and Chinese dramas. Reading is very important. For me, is not as much as escaping from the life, but it's more about making the life more interesting and making it richer. I am a big fan of reading fantasy fiction, especially with some strong women characters. And it's also because I can learn some traits that I don't have. So during that time I was at home, I had a goal, and it was reading the whole series of Throne of Glass from Sarah J. Maas. I have to say I did not succeed in my goal because I didn't like the last book. I much more enjoyed The Court of Thorns and Roses, as it was much deeper in psychology of the main characters, and also the love story was, I would say, much better. And still, it really got me through when I knew that I will have to read that many books, and that gave me a purpose. But I really loved spending the time with the books, and I really enjoyed that the main character kind of didn't give a about the life and about authority or something, so I really liked that. Then another tip of mine, which I used, although not as much as I should have, was being a main character. Sometimes I played a game in my mind that I am a character of my favorite movie or of my favorite book. And I heard about this technique from a channel on Spotify. That technique really resonates with me because I can go through hardships much easier when I feel that there is a path, and when I try to see my life or my situation I'm in from distance. Because when you imagine your favorite character, you know what they are going through, but still you see the hope, and you also see what decisions they should make, which is much easier to see when you're just watching the movie, right? You can also directly see who is the villain, and you can also much more objectively see your good traits and your bad traits, which is also really helpful. So basically I just imagined myself as a girl who just went through the surgery and is having a hard time, but then the good times will come. I imagined myself as a strong character. Another thing which I realized I do is celebrating small wins. I really believe that celebrating small wins is very essential for achieving someone's goals and for having a fulfilling life, because not all the things are perfect. But if you can celebrate a small thing which happened to you and you can really feel happy about it, I think that this habit can get you through hardships and through bad things. I also think that it can kind of impact your motivation and overall well-being. And I have to say I celebrated a lot of wins during that time. The wins which other people would be like, come on, it's not that significant, you know. One of those things was that I could walk much better with crutches. I felt my arm muscles and my chest was much stronger to hold me. So that was what I was proud about. Also, if you had a surgery, you probably know that you can't have a shower for at least a week. And I had 2 weeks, so I was using wet towels. But then when I really could have a shower, I was like, wow. I was so happy at the time. That was a really happy moment, and I can remember it until now. And another thing, when I could step outside of the house, I was also enjoying that moment, celebrating the fact that I'm still alive and it goes better.
Hey, so today I'm going for the first time to see my friends after like 3 months of being at home and occasionally going outside. So I'm kind of happy that I can again live like a normal person. And yeah, for me it's like the time after 2020. It's like the same. Yeah. But it's not the same, like the same because other people, they were still meeting and me, I was at home. So yeah. Hey, let's go.
I also celebrated my progress when I cooked my first meal. It was, I think, frozen vegetables with tofu, roasted, of course. So it was really easy to make, but I was still like really happy that I can make it. So each small victory was a reminder that progress was happening, even if it was slow. And I can mention a book which I read before the surgery, or I listened to it, and it's called The 6 Habits of Growth from Brendon Burchard, who also wrote that celebrating small achievements is a very important thing and that it can help you maintain your drive. And also many psychologists and motivational experts emphasize the importance of acknowledging incremental progress. Another tip, which is kind of a wrap up of other things I said, is enjoying the small moments in a big mess. I basically had to look for the things which I really enjoyed when being at home. And for example, I watched a lot of YouTube videos about editing in DaVinci Resolve, and I tried to implement it, and I was learning things. So I really used that time and I really enjoyed that. And also, as I mentioned before, I watched a lot of romantic K or C dramas on Viki Rakuten. It's like a Netflix for Asian dramas, so you can check it out, it's really cool. By the way, I'm not sponsored by that. I really love the website and how many dramas there are. Also, when you are watching this, leave in comments some tips and tricks of yours. If you get through some hardships, some hard times, I would like to see them too, because another surgery is awaiting for me. It will be probably in half a year. So I wish to see some tricks from other people and to try them out. I'm planning to do another video about celebrating small wins. So if you are interested in that, you can hit the subscribe button. I feel that going through hard times has some positive impact too. And it is that when our life is all good, everything is just great, we forget to appreciate how great it is. And we are stressed about small tiny things because our life kind of feels a bit boring when it's too great. So if we go through some hard times, that remind us that our time was actually good before, and next time we can really appreciate it. As Jackie Chan and other guys sing in their song, 不经历风雨，怎么见彩虹? Or in other words, if there is no rain and wind, how could you see the rainbow? Keeping positivity when the life challenging us is difficult. That's why, going through my own problems, I came up with a few tips for myself first for keeping positivity and hope. I already filmed a video about that, so you can check that. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed that and stay sexy. Bye.